The sound of the front door unlocking froze the air around me. I was still half dressed, my pulse hammering so violently I thought the walls could hear it. The faint smell of wine, sweat, and guilt hung thick in the living room. Ethan wasn't supposed to be home until morning. He was on a business trip, 6 hours away. But as the door creaked open, I heard the unmistakable rustle of his jacket, the slow, deliberate drag of his suitcase wheels on the hardwood floor. My throat tightened. "Lila!" His voice came from the hallway, steady, calm. "Come." I shot up from the couch, nearly tripping over the pile of tangled clothes on the rug. Behind me, Mark grabbed his shirt, his face pale. "What the hell? He's not supposed to." "Go," I hissed, my voice trembling. "The back door." He hesitated for half a second, then slipped into the kitchen, barefoot and silent. I pulled my sweater over my head, my hands shaking so violently I could barely get it on. I tried to smooth my hair, wipe my lips, anything to erase the evidence, but it was useless. The air itself betrayed me. When Ethan stepped into the living room, the look on his face stopped my heart. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even shocked. He just looked hollow. His eyes flicked to the half-empty wine glasses, the crumpled throw blanket on the couch, the faint imprint of another body beside mine. Every detail screamed the truth louder than words ever could. "Was it worth it?" he asked quietly. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. The words that should have come, apologies, explanations, excuses, died on my tongue. "Ethan, He raised a hand, silencing me. "Don't. Please don't insult me with whatever you were about to say." There was no yelling, no accusations, just unbearable stillness. That made it worse. He walked toward the couch, each step deliberate, as if he were memorizing every detail of the room, engraving it into memory. He picked up his glass, turned it in his hand, then set it down again with eerie precision. My mind spiraled. How long had he known? Why tonight? Had I been that careless? Or had he come home early on purpose? "Was it him?" he asked softly, still looking at the floor. I swallowed hard. "Ethan, please." He looked up then, and I saw the tears in his eyes. Not rage, not hatred, grief. "That's all I needed to know," he said, and walked toward the door. "Wait," I cried, rushing after him. "Please, Ethan, I made a mistake. I swear it meant nothing, I just..." He turned back, and for a split second his voice cracked. "You think that makes it better? That it meant nothing?" My stomach twisted. I reached out, desperate to touch him, but he stepped back as if my skin burned. "You told me once," he said quietly, "that I was the safest place you'd ever known." His voice trembled. "So why did you burn it down?" There was no answer I could give that wouldn't sound pathetic. He left without another word, the door closing behind him with a soft click that shattered me more than any slam ever could. I stood in the middle of the living room, shaking. The silence afterward was deafening. I could still hear the faint echo of his keys, the scent of his cologne mingling with the bitter odor of guilt. Mark came back from the kitchen, buttoning his shirt, avoiding my eyes. "Is he gone?" I turned on him, my voice sharp. "You need to leave. Now." He frowned. "Lila, come on. It's not like..." "Go!" I shouted, louder than I intended. He left, muttering something under his breath, but I barely heard him. My chest felt hollow, my hands trembling uncontrollably. When the door closed again, the weight of what I'd done crashed down all at once. I sank to the floor, pressing my face into my hands, choking on tears I hadn't realized were there. The night blurred after that. I called Ethan over and over, left messages he never answered. Texts, emails, nothing. By morning, all his social accounts were gone, every photo, every tag, every trace of me erased. It was as if I'd been deleted from his life. That was 2 days ago. Now I sit on the edge of our bed, the same bed where we once laughed, whispered secrets, made promises I'd shattered. His side is empty, the pillow untouched, the faint scent of cedar still clinging to the sheets. Everywhere I look he's still here. And yet, completely gone. I keep replaying that moment over and over. The look on his face, the calmness that cut deeper than rage ever could. Part of me keeps wishing he'd screamed, cursed, thrown something. Because anger would mean there was something left to save. Instead, he left behind silence. And silence, I've learned, is far crueler than hate. 2 weeks later, I finally hear from him. A message appears on my phone one afternoon while I'm at work. Just one line. Can we meet? Tomorrow. Same cafe. My heart leaps and sinks at once. The same cafe where we first met. 4 years ago, when he'd spilled coffee on my dress and made me laugh in a way no one ever had. I stare at the message for what feels like hours before I finally type back. Yes, please. That night I barely sleep. I picture him sitting across from me, listening, forgiving, maybe even understanding. I rehearse what I'll say. How I'll apologize, how I'll promise to rebuild everything I broke. But deep down, something inside me trembles. 'Cause I know Ethan. And he never does anything without a reason. When morning comes, I choose my outfit carefully. Simple, soft, the one he used to love. I brush my hair the way he liked, wear the faint vanilla perfume he always noticed. I want him to see the woman he fell in love with, not the one who betrayed him. Cafe is quiet when I arrive. The smell of roasted coffee beans fills the air, warm and familiar. I sit by the window, the same seat we always took, and wait. Every time the door opens, I look up. My heart stutters at every face that isn't his. Then finally he walks in. He looks thinner, tired. His usual neat hair is slightly disheveled. His eyes darker than I remember. But he still has that quiet steadiness, the calm that once made me feel safe. When his eyes meet mine, there's no anger, just a deep, distant sadness. He sits down across from me without a word. For a long time, neither of us speaks. Finally I whisper, "Thank you for coming." He nods, eyes fixed on the table. "You said you wanted to explain." Take a shaky breath. "Ethan, I don't even know where to start. What I did was unforgivable. I know that. But I need you to know it wasn't about him. It wasn't even about wanting someone else. I was lonely and I hated myself for it. You were so distant lately and I wanted to feel something again." He finally looks up. "So you hurt me to feel alive." The words hit like a knife. "No, He shakes his head, sighing. "You could have told me, Lila. You could have said you were unhappy. I would have listened." Tears blur my vision. "I know. I was scared. You've always been so good, so steady. I thought if I told you, you'd see me differently. I didn't want you to know how broken I really was." He's quiet for a long time, then says softly, "I saw you. Every version of you. I loved you anyway." The words make me crumble. "Please, Ethan. I'll do anything to fix this. Anything." He looks down at his coffee, his jaw tightening. "You can't fix what's already gone." I lean forward, desperate. "You don't mean that. Please just give me a chance." He finally meets my gaze again, and the look in his eyes makes my blood run cold. "I didn't come here to talk about getting back together," he says slowly. "I came to tell you something." My breath catches. "What?" He hesitates, glancing out the window before turning back to me. "You'll understand tomorrow." And before I can ask what he means, he stands up and walks away. I watch him leave, confusion and dread twisting together in my chest. What did he mean by tomorrow? As his figure disappears down the street, I sit frozen in the cafe, heart pounding. Every instinct tells me something is coming, something I won't be ready for. I just don't know yet that what Ethan does next will break me in a way I never imagined. I woke before dawn, my heart already pounding. The memory of Ethan's words from yesterday, "You'll understand tomorrow," kept looping in my head, dark and cryptic. Barely slept. Every noise outside made me flinch. Every hour that passed felt like a countdown to something inevitable, though I couldn't name what. By 7, I'd showered twice, made coffee I couldn't drink, and checked my phone 100 times. Nothing. No text. No call. The silence was suffocating. I sat on the couch, the same couch where everything fell apart, and tried to breathe. The house looked the same, yet felt foreign, haunted by what I'd done. Every photo frame, every tiny domestic trace of him stabbed at me. That's when I heard it. Soft knock at the door. For a split second my heart leapt. I imagined Ethan standing there. His expression softened, ready to forgive me. I rushed to open it. But it wasn't him. A courier stood on the porch, holding a flat, rectangular envelope. "Delivery for Lila Quinn," he said. I hesitated before signing. My hands were cold, trembling slightly as I took it. Once the door closed, I stared at the envelope. No return address, just my name written in Ethan's precise handwriting. I opened it carefully, my breath shallow. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a USB drive. The paper read, "For the truth you never told me. E." My stomach dropped. I sat down, numb, and inserted the USB into my laptop. A folder opened, untitled. Inside was a single video file. Click play. The video began with the sound of my own voice. Froze. It was the night he caught me. The camera, hidden somewhere in the living room, had recorded everything. The laughter, the whispering, the way Mark had leaned in to kiss me. Every second of betrayal captured in perfect, merciless clarity. I pressed pause, but my finger slipped. The scene kept playing. Then Ethan appeared in the frame, standing in the doorway, silent and broken. The same moment that had shattered both of us. But there was more. After he left, the camera kept rolling. It caught me sobbing, crawling across the floor, clutching my head, whispering his name like a prayer that would never be answered. I couldn't breathe. Tears burned my eyes as I slammed the laptop shut. My whole body shook. Why would he send this to me? What was he trying to say? That he'd seen everything? That he wanted me to relive it? I grabbed my phone, desperate to call him, but before I could, another notification appeared. New post. On his social media account. My blood ran cold. It was the video. The same one. Posted publicly. The caption read, "Some betrayals don't deserve silence." I dropped the phone, my vision spinning. The post already had hundreds of views, comments pouring in. Friends, co-workers, even my sister. The world was watching my shame unfold in real time. "No," I whispered. "Ethan, no, please." I tried calling him. Straight to voicemail. By noon, the video had gone viral in our small town. My office emailed me asking me not to come in, until further notice. My mother texted once, "Lila, what is this?" And then nothing. I wanted to disappear. Crawl out of my skin. I deserved the guilt. The humiliation. But not this. Not like this. That evening, I drove to Ethan's apartment. I didn't even think. I just grabbed my keys and went, still wearing yesterday's clothes, eyes raw from crying. When I reached his building, the sun was setting, painting the sky in bruised shades of orange and gray. His car was parked out front. My heart twisted. I knocked on his door once, twice, then harder. Finally it opened. He stood there, calm as ever, wearing a simple t-shirt, eyes unreadable. "Lila," he said. Not angry. Not soft. Just flat. I stepped inside without waiting. "How could you do that to me? How could you post that?" He didn't move. "You didn't ask how I could watch it happen. That's not fair." Cried. "You wanted revenge. To humiliate me in front of everyone." He exhaled slowly. "Revenge? Well, I just wanted the truth to exist somewhere outside your lies." I stared at him, trembling. "I made a mistake, Ethan. Terrible one. But what you did, what you're doing, is cruel." He looked at me then, finally, and I saw the pain he'd been hiding. "Cruel. You took everything that was real between us and turned it into a lie. You broke something sacred. I didn't want to destroy you, Lila. I wanted you to feel what I felt, the moment I realized I'd never really known you." The words sliced through me. "I still love you," I whispered, my voice breaking. "Even after everything, I love you." He flinched slightly, as if the words hurt him more than anything else. Love, he said quietly. If you loved me, you would have chosen me when it mattered. Silence stretched between us, thick and unbearable. I stepped closer. Please, take it down. I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll make it right. Just don't let this be how our story ends. For a long moment he didn't speak. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it to me. I unfolded it slowly, my hands trembling. It was divorce papers. Dated. Tears blurred the page. You already filed. He nodded. The day after I caught you. I just needed to look you in the eyes before I let it go. My knees nearly gave out. Please, Ethan, don't do this. He looked down, voice barely above a whisper. You ended us before I ever did. I wanted to scream, to tear the papers apart, to make him see the regret tearing me apart from the inside. But instead I stood there, small and shaking, watching the last person who ever truly knew me turn away. He opened the door, his hand resting on the frame. Goodbye, Lila. I didn't move. Couldn't. Ethan, I said softly, if I'd told you the truth that night, if I'd confessed before you found out, would anything have been different? He paused, back still turned to me. Then he said quietly, yes, I would have forgiven you. And then he walked out into the fading light. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember how long I sat in the dark, staring at the divorce papers on the table. But I do remember this. The hollow ache in my chest, the way silence filled every corner of the room where laughter used to live. For weeks I avoided everyone. I deleted my accounts, changed my number, quit my job. Every message I got, every whisper of pity or disgust, felt like another stone added to the weight crushing my ribs. And yet, the worst part wasn't the humiliation. It was knowing he'd walked away still loving me, but choosing not to. That was the real punishment. I often replay that final moment in my mind. His voice, steady but broken, saying he would have forgiven me. Those words echo louder than any insult, any anger. Because forgiveness was still possible. If only I'd been honest before he had to find out for himself. Now the only thing left is silence. And silence, once again, is all that remains of us.